Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for being here. I'd like to follow up on an issue that really hits a nerve in my home state. Secretary Esper, during your confirmation hearing, you may remember that I asked you to look into complaints from National Guard officers about delays in federal recognition of their promotions. According to the National Guard Association, many Guard officers are waiting 200 days or more, and this can have a really negative effect on their pay, on their benefits, on their command opportunities. So, Mr. Secretary, what have you found and what actions is the Army taking to address this issue?
Yes, Senator, thank you for that question. And then after we did have that, that exchange during the hearing, I spoke to the TAG of the Massachusetts Guard. And then about 4 weeks ago, met with all 54 tags at the Army National Guard headquarters, and this issue came up again. I took it back and had a meeting with my manpower and reserve affairs personnel, and you're right, the numbers are too long and it's unacceptable. And frankly, I endured my time in the Guard. I had a similar type of action, happen to me. So what we're doing is we're digging through it right now. Part of the challenge is there are multiple steps. The process begins at the state tag level, goes through NGB, the G1, all the way through, and in some cases, the Senate if it's a colonel above. There are things we need to do to improve the process. We have added additional manpower. We're looking at greater automation. I think there are ways we can reduce the time. There's about anywhere from 30 to 45 days added on to determine that they have exhibit exemplary behavior. And then there are other things out there that may require congressional action. For example, part of the process, as I understand it, is this scrolling, which is an antiquated pen and paper process that also adds time to it. So we're trying to attack it on a number of fronts, but it needs to be much, much more timely.
Okay, well, I really do appreciate your working on this. I'm going to keep pushing on this. I understand the need to thoroughly vet our officer corps, but this has become a morale issue for the Guard, and I don't think it's right to make our junior officers pay the price for bureaucratic delays and antiquated systems, regardless of where those delays originate. So let me ask you another question on this. Would you support providing back pay to the Guardsmen whose promotion sits idle for months while they're waiting for federal recognition and actually doing the next level job?
Yeah, Senator, I think that's a fair approach to it. As I discussed with you, I would want to make sure I talk to the National Guard, make sure it's fair to them. We all understand what the implications are. But I think in principle, that's fair.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. These young men and women who volunteer to serve their country don't get paid all that much. And I think it's just plain wrong when National Guard officers earn their promotions, serve at a higher level of responsibility for months, and then don't get that rank's pay while they're waiting for federal recognition of that. We got to find a way to speed this up, or else I worry that it really is going to do a lot of damage to morale.
I do too, Senator. The National Guard has become integral to our operational readiness. They're serving around the world now in support of real-world activities. I was with the Guard in both Poland and in Ukraine in January, doing a fantastic job. So we need to fix these things. And not just, we have similar problems in reserves and the active side as well. It's just to get the bureaucracy out of the way and make the system much more efficient.
Good. I'm really glad to hear that. And with my remaining time, what I'd like to do is follow up on Senator King's question. The Army has announced plans to establish a new Futures and Modernization Command. The idea is to bring people who need new technology and the people who acquire that technology together under one roof so they can get the technology into the hands of our soldiers faster. But today, a lot of the cutting-edge technology is not developed within the Pentagon, but in the commercial sector or in laboratories at our colleges and universities. Secretary Esper, how important is it to capitalize on commercial and academic developments in advanced technology? And here's the key. As the Army establishes this new command, what steps are you taking to make sure it is closely tied to outside innovators?
Yes, Senator, you're right. Army Futures Command, it's critical that we have access to talent. Talent, not just on the material side, particularly with the hard sciences, but also talent that can help us think about the future strategic environment, thinking in the 2030s, 2040s, because that will inform, in many ways, the steps we take with regard to material. So we are looking at a number of locations. I think we started out with around 150. We've winnowed it down to around 30, and I think the next step in a week or so will be to get it down to 10, 11, 12. But each time we go through this, we look at different filters, whether it's talent, it's then specific areas of talent, it's a proximity to innovation, It's proximity to academia. And then there are other issues, of course, that we have to look at: quality of life, cost of living, all these things. So we're really trying to be smart about it. We want to make sure we can attract the top talent. We have access to an ecosystem of talent wherever we put it, and that's why we're really trying to get into an area that really offers much of that.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that the Army is focused on taking advantage of existing talent and where technological innovation is occurring. Of course, General Milley and I both come from a state where a lot of that is going on. I know you've lived there, Secretary Esper, and anytime you want to come to Massachusetts and look around, you're welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.